Welcome back to Mr. Orth's Flipped Classroom for Grammar, a look at capitalization, first words, and titles. First words in a letter. Remember that you capitalize all parts of the letter in the first words. Greetings, conclusions, closings, paragraphs, however you indent them or not. Bear in mind, when you capitalize parts of a letter, typically, unless we're doing a title such as Dear Sir or Dear Madam, to whom it may concern, only the first letter of that line is capitalized. Sincerely yours, only the first letter of that line is also capitalized. Also, first words in an outline. After each period or parenthesis on an outline, you make sure you capitalize that. That's in particular for labels starting each line. Even if you don't use a complete sentence, you still want to make sure after a period or after parenthesis, you capitalize. In actual titles. Okay, we're looking at first, last, and all other important words. I'm looking at other important words being things that aren't conjunctions or articles or prepositions that are 5 letters or fewer than 5 letters. So all is capitalized of because it's the last word. Once is always capitalized. Time would be capitalized, first and last words. Other important words. So we have upon here. You could argue that maybe that's a preposition. Some might call it an adverb. And if it's an adverb, then we would capitalize it. If it's a preposition, 4 letters or less, you wouldn't. Short prepositions, articles, whether it be definite or indefinite, you wouldn't capitalize. Also, first words, we're looking at every prose sentence. That's your usual sentences and paragraphs style of writing. And also the first word of every line of a traditional poetry. The word traditional can be kind of confusing and leave room for personal opinion or perspective. So my recommendation is, whenever in doubt, always capitalize the first word in any line of poetry. If an author intended them for you not to capitalize it, they'll have consistent patterns in their own writing. Also, quotations. This one's a little bit trickier. Every time you have the first word of a quotation that's a complete sentence, you make sure you capitalize that first word. Reason why it doesn't say if it's an incomplete sentence, for example, if you have a partial quotation at the end of a research paper, then you wouldn't necessarily need to capitalize that because it's not the start of a complete sentence. Generally speaking, if you're writing dialogue, particularly in a creative or narrative story, you know what to capitalize based on whether or not the tagline, that's the says part of the sentence or asked part of the sentence, it's really one long quotation wherever you put that in, even if there's commas around it. Examples below. What is your explanation for this? That's the actual quotation. Just because we have what, ask my mother, and then there's the first word is, doesn't mean is should be capitalized, because the whole quotation reads, what is your explanation for this? Therefore, it's considered a divided quotation. If, however, if we said, what is your explanation for this? Ask my mother, period, and then another quotation followed, then we would capitalize at that quotation following a period, just like you would after any end mark. Practice. How can you ever forgive me, wondered Esmeralda? Can you find it in your heart? In this quotation, we have the first word already capitalized, so we're good to go there. After we have this wondered Esmeralda, the question is there an end mark? If there is, a period, then we still capitalize the C on can. Just because we have a quotation with words not spoken aloud and another quotation doesn't necessarily mean that we know when to capitalize. It's based on, is there a period, is there an end mark? In this case, there is, so we capitalize following. Second example, The Man in the Iron Mask is a far better movie than The Mask of Zorro. These are titles. So we look at this. The is capitalized because it's the first word and should also be capitalized here. You can tell it's a title by its italics. Mask and Zorro, of course, should be capitalized, but of is a short preposition. Shouldn't be capitalized. Man should be capitalized as well as iron and mask because those are important words, whereas in and the should not be. Be sure to do the practice in your packet, triple underlining things that should be capitalized which are not, and putting a slash through those capital letters which should not be capitalized. Check in with your teacher for anything you're not sure of, and good hunting.